Hello, I'm here with Keith Berk, managing partner of Horwood Marcus and Berk, and just doing an interview. Wanted to start off with a question, really just giving me your background, your legal background leading up to your current role in the firm.
I was a practicing business lawyer, and most importantly for me, I remain a practicing business lawyer. Develop business. I like doing deals. I like advising closely held businesses, and I like how you run a business. And so I became more and more involved in the management of the firm, but had never given up my practice and never want to.
Okay, wonderful. Compare the legal industry for me, if you would, today versus, say, 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
I think there's a much greater need today to run a law firm as a business. 10 years ago, maybe even longer, it was, quote, a profession. It still is a profession, but if you don't run it like a business, I don't think you'll have clients. Clients are more sensitive today to fees. They're more sensitive to overall costs of work. And if you can't deliver services efficiently and effectively, you're not going to be competitive no matter how brilliant you are or how much your expertise is.
Yeah, and I think that sort of leads into why business development has really come forward so aggressively maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, mainly with the recession, is because the phone isn't ringing like it used to.
Yeah, but I think clients are more sophisticated than they used to be as well.
Okay.
If you just start from the top down, big companies used to hire big law firms. You read all about big companies now hiring boutique specialty law firms. You hear about in-house counsels who are, more particular about how they get billed and what they get billed for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that trickles straight down.
Okay.
I think in the middle market where we practice, I think our clientele is much more sophisticated about their legal needs than they were 10 years ago. And I think the recession affected it, but I think there was a trend, that was a clear trend anyway towards how to, if you go back long ago, nobody really provided budgets. We'll just start doing legal work. We'll tell you when we're done, and we'll send you a bill.
Mm-hmm.
So the time and billing system hasn't really changed. Everybody said it would over the last 30 years, but it really hasn't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it will. But what expectations of clients are and meeting those expectations and setting some range of what it's going to cost and alerting a client when that changes has all become, very relevant to running the practice, and it wasn't in the past.
Right. So let me ask you this with regards to, how you came in to building a book of business and growing your practice. Was there a particular defining moment that occurred to you or happened to you, or was it something that happened over time as far as how you built your book and your successful practice?
There was in my case. I'm not sure there always is, but in my case there was. So I joined Horwood Marcus and Braun as the fifth lawyer, 2.5 years out of school, and I had a bunch of tiny little clients, like single-family house closings. And Dick Horwood said to me, you don't really want to be doing that. And I said, no, good stuff.
Yeah.
And he let me do it,
which
was a really interesting thing that probably can't happen at that level anymore. But it let me see how to interact with people about things they really care about, right? It's their house. Mm-hmm. But by the way, you never want to be a lawyer doing that, but it was really good training. Okay, so fast forward, I've been with the firm about a year, and Dick representing a family that was going to invest with a operating management team in the business. And it was a pretty sophisticated transaction. There was a meeting one evening with all of the potential clients. Dick and somebody at the firm was far senior to me. Something happened at that meeting where the clients really didn't get along with the senior person from our firm. And the next morning, Dick came in and said, I'm going to take you to a meeting. You're way too young. You don't know what you're doing. Don't talk too much.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to a meeting, and I was totally unprepared for this. And the management team literally starts yelling at Dick about what the other guy from our firm had done. And it was pretty ugly. And it went on, and this guy ultimately became a good friend. But he was bald, and he was kind of robust, and his face, I'll never forget, was bright red. And after he gets done yelling and screaming for quite a bit of time, they look at me and they go, what do you think? And I said, now, I've been told not to talk too much. And my response was, well, if you want to buy this business, maybe we should talk about buying the business and get over whatever happened that I don't know about.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first time I was ever at a meeting of importance. And pretty soon, I'm literally doing this transaction. And it was a whole bunch of rookies. There was a very young lawyer on behalf of Harris Bank. There was a very young lawyer on the other side of the deal. And then there were some senior people at the seller side. There was a lot of players. There was a lot of financing. And it was interesting how the senior lawyers from different firms representing different interests helped those of us who were rookies. And the three of us who were rookies still have a bond today. Mm-hmm. It was a classic leveraged financing with multiple levels of debt, way beyond anything I had ever done. And it was kind of a defining moment because we were successful at doing it. We were more successful because of hard work than intelligence or experience. And the client appreciated it.
Okay.
And became, they were very loyal to me. And it felt really good because I had worked incredible hours. And the appreciation from it felt good. And so I think that turned you on more than money.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this. With regards to things that, as a managing partner, you get to see a lot of things and you get to oversee a number of people. And when you think about individual attorneys or maybe other law firms or within your law firm, the challenges that they're facing in specifically developing business. And we know that there's some attorneys that just don't have interest in it. They just want to, be the worker bee, and that's fine. And then there's the rainmakers that have kind of been there, done that. And then there's this whole other segment of individuals that know the path that they need to take in order to be successful with a legal practice. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing with them right now?
I think that everybody's different, and there's different vantage points, but overall, I think that the old-fashioned way of developing business was a referral network. I think that's relevant, but what's relevant is an expertise with that. I think if you're a business lawyer at a mid-market firm today, you're vanilla. And I don't think people hire vanilla. So unless your best friend is controlling a ton of business that he's going to feed you, how do you differentiate yourself? Mm-hmm. And it is, I think, more and more you need to be able to be a quarterback to represent businesses, but you got to have some expertise that gives you credibility to get your foot in the door. And I'm not sure that some of those in that category are willing to make the investment in their time and effort to develop some expertise that they can hang their hat on. Okay,
and that could be a niche within the legal field. It could also be a niche within the type of industries you're going after, or a combination.
It could be a vertical niche of, we're food and beverage experts, we're auto experts. You can pick lots of niches, and you can create a niche.
Okay. Is there one that you particularly found either for yourself or that you have an example of that either yourself or someone maybe in your firm that has a very specific thing that they're doing?
Well, so I try to have 4 verticals. Okay, and I try to have somebody operate one of each of those verticals. So we do a lot of food and beverage. One of my partners who does a lot of the work in food and beverage is a food safety certified specialist. Nothing to do with the law. We want him to understand how food plants operate.
Mm-hmm.
We can practice law better if we do that.
Okay.
That's a vertical.
Okay.
We have a vertical in auto, and not auto retail, but assembly of trucks. And that, quite frankly, came just out of need. We had a client who did a lot. But just instead of sitting back and saying, well, we could do the work, we had to invest a lot of our own time learning about it. So There's a woman who's a partner of mine who is an expert on dealership law. And not from the dealer side, but how do you set up a national dealership? How do you terminate a dealer? There's very specific rules to it.
Okay.
And she has really deep expertise in that. We have a group that has done a lot of family dispute resolution, closely held business family dispute resolution. And it's kind of an art and a science to itself, and it's something I spend a lot of time doing.
Okay.
And it's a natural outgrowth from a middle market practice because a lot of these businesses are family owned.
Okay, right. And there's a lot of movement with that in family-owned businesses, right? I mean, as far as different behaviors and personalities that are fighting and battling and
50-50 psychology and legal practice.
Right, okay.
But the psychology to it is as relevant, if not more relevant, than the legal side to it.
But let me ask you, going back for a minute. So one challenge that's facing attorneys then would be finding a niche or finding something that they can specialize in to differentiate themselves from everyone else. If you think beyond that, are there any other things that stand out in your mind as far as, I'm a young up-and-coming lawyer and I want to make, my way that aside from that, is there anything else that you think I should be doing or that I should be concerned that I'm concerned with that you might have an idea for me?
So let's assume that you're smart,
okay,
that you have some expertise, and that you're playing in the right pond.
Okay.
Too many people go after the wrong clients and get stuck on the wrong clients, and the wrong clients kill you over time.
Okay.
If you get through all of that, it's easy. You have to really care.
Okay.
Because ultimately, all we're selling to a client is peace of mind.
So if I'm just, kind of fake it till I make it type of thing, and I don't really care, I'm just trying to do the transaction and get through it, it'll show, and the referrals or the business or the repeat or the loyalty won't be there at the same level, obviously.
I think clients and referral sources, after a pretty short period of time, figure out those people who really care, who really are in it for the long term of helping clients, and those who are in it to make a buck and do a fast turn or drag the business in. And the hard part of that is, so does that mean every piece of business you develop you have to do yourself? And the answer to that is no. But that's the next step, right? Mm-hmm. So you become successful at developing business, and all of a sudden, if you're doing it and selling only yourself, it gets stuck being you.
Yep.
And anyone you hand it off to, even if they're better than you, looks to be to the client the second rate.
Yeah, right. So and that's a separate topic, but I mean that's how you take things to the next level. Would be you have to get to a point where you can delegate to someone that's smarter than you, or that you feel very confident can handle it, so that you can quarterback it, but not do the work yourself.
In my opinion, is you have to sell with them.
Okay.
Even though those people tend not to be salesmen.
Right.
So you bring them to the initial meetings, and you have to let them talk, because if you dominate the entire meeting, the client goes, "Well, you're terrific, but I don't know what you're doing."
Yeah, you're a statue in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
But ultimately, and I will tell you, most lawyers don't agree with me on this. I think ultimately all we sell is peace of mind.
Okay.
Is that when a client lays down at night on their pillow, do they think they're doing the right thing with the right advisor?
Okay. Great. Just maybe an idea or two of some of the biggest mistakes that attorneys are making these days to try to build a successful practice. Things that they're just that they're not doing what they should be doing, and I think we've covered a little bit of that ground.
That's what we talked about. The biggest thing in my mind is doing great work for the wrong client.
Okay.
Underappreciated or not appreciated, you'll never get paid, or you won't get paid what your services are worth, and ultimately it sucks the lifeblood out of you, because what it does is it takes time, and lawyers are afraid. Jack Welch said, take your bottom 10% of your customers every year and cut them. Mm-hmm. Okay? I will bet you there's very few lawyers in the city that would take their client list, look at it and go, the bottom 10% is all my problems, all my effort that makes me upset and unhappy, and cut them.
Yeah, I would agree.
They're afraid to do it.
Right.
And there's different ways to do it. Right? I've had discussions with clients, and it's not like I'm an expert at cutting the bottom 10%, but I've had conversations with a client today that's actually a very good client, and it was, we're the wrong firm for you. You don't appreciate what we do. We're too expensive for your needs. You shouldn't use us. And somehow from that conversation, and I was sure we were done.
Yeah.
Somehow from that conversation, they've actually become a very nice client.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Well, all right, so let me start again. So when I think about I work with attorneys all over Chicagoland, and that's been my big thing in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. The biggest issue that I'm seeing out there is, how do they get in front of a qualified prospect? Because they may have the niche, they may have the talent and the smarts and all the things that they need, but getting out there and they're difficult, they're having trouble networking or developing strong strategic partners or what. I mean, is there anything that you either did yourself or that you're seeing some of the successful attorneys do that is giving you like an aha type of moment with relation to how they bring that in? That's amazing. That type of thing.
This may not be an aha moment. This may be a little too mechanical.
Okay.
My opinion is, and these are a little bit of extremes, there's two ways to do it. You can stand on the corner of Lake and LaSalle, and you can put up a placard that says, I'm a lawyer, I need work, and I'll do great work for you. And you're probably not going to get a lot of business.
No.
You can do really great work for everything you touch in a law firm and be incredibly responsive to clients, and it will come to you.
Okay.
And from everything you do, if you really care about it, you will develop a network source. And it might be direct, it may be 3 generations away of what happened, but business will come to people who really do good work and who really care.
Okay.
And you have to be in the flow. The only way I know to get in the flow is you can't start from, well, I guess you could, but it's really, really hard to start from zero and get it going. So the hardest, if you want a $3 million book of business, the hardest piece to develop is the first 100,000. Show me a guy with $500,000 in business, and he's got a great shot at getting to $3 million. Show me a guy with 0, and he's got a very little shot at getting to 100.
But I will, and I agree with what you just said. However, I also see a lot of the attorneys that have the $500,000 book that just seem sort of stuck at that point, and they do good work, and their clients like them, and there's that. But
Wrong client.
Wrong client.
Wrong client.
So you're in the right pond with the right clients, doing the right things, which is what's best for the client, right? And then that's where things take off, and that's where things bubble up from there. Okay.
You do great work for a client that's custom work, that's not cookie cutter, and you have a client for a lifetime because you changed their life.
Right. That's great. Well, listen, Keith, I appreciate your time and all this valuable information. My name's Steve Fretzin. We'll be getting you this audio interview very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.